Another video, another attempt to do something new. I liked kind of doing the video intros and then the video outros, so I'm going to do this again. This time we're talking about planning, or more precisely, preparations. The preparations you're going to do once you're getting ready for a convention. This is not the planning of the convention, though you're going to attend planning meetings. This is the things you do to kind of prepare yourself for the show. So here we go, and let's go. So let's get on with it. So games prepped. If you are going to the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show, or you're going to be presenting at any major shows or selling at any major shows, you want to make sure you've got all the games ready to sell or all the games ready to play. So that is sort of... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What? Anyway, it's just basically wrapping, prepping, making sure that they're good and working and, ready. There's going to be shows where, there's going to be meetings where you meet up and you kind of get your machines fixed. And not everything is going to work, but, you're going to try to get as many as you can. So then there's a better show for everybody involved, And, there's going to be experts there, and they're going to tell you how to deal with things. And they're going to kind of have everything prepped, all the tools ready. And if you need something, they'll be like, well, I can give this to you, but you're going to have to buy me a new one. And they're going to be totally honest about it. In fact, the guy in orange will tell you that straight up. He says, if you want me to fix it, I will charge you money. But if, you want things done, you'll have to buy me all the replacement parts and stuff. And then right before the show starts, you got to wrap your machine. I think the people who do the driving do the wrapping as well, but you just got to prep it for moving. You can't just keep it in the box in the status it is in your living room. You got to make it ready to ship. So a lot of people are going to think that, they just show up on their own and they're perfectly ready as soon as you're there and you're like, oh man, this is the way I want it to look. But it's not true. We go through an entire process of preparing, and right before the show, every single person basically preps whatever they've got, and they do it very carefully, and it can take months to get everything ready. In fact, I'm reading things from people right now about stuff that they're working on, and they're trying to finish stuff up. One guy has a Strider machine, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what I want. Bring the Strider, man. Bring the Strider. If you see a video of me smiling next to an arcade machine, it's going to be the Strider. Well, okay, there's going to be a lot of machines like that. But that's the thing about shows like this is, since everybody is providing machines or they're volunteering machines, they need to make sure that it's working. It's not going to be worth it to have a broken machine show up and you just go, okay, well, it was there for 15 minutes and now it's in the boneyard and we have absolutely no use for it. So that's kind of what you need to worry about. And that's why you need to prep. Next up is schedule for setup, and that doesn't sound like much, but for setup, that means getting everything ready for the setup on the 2 days before the show. And this means getting all the trucks, getting all the people arranged, getting all the routes ready, getting all the equipment ready, the tools ready, and just get basically prepping for this movement so that, as soon as you say go, it just happens. And everybody is ready. And it happens at the end of the show, too, where you have an entire schedule for people to move, and you need to have equipment there ready to go so that you can move every single little piece of equipment. And you need the trucks ready to go to move, and you need drivers who are trained. And this is a lot of extra work, but it's totally worth it on the day for setup, because once you do everything that way, everybody is prepped and everybody is ready to just get it all done. Just tools are ready, moving devices are ready, trucks are ready, drivers are ready, schedule is prepped, and you're just good. And everything is just looking great and wonderful, and you're happy with life. Then we go on to planning meetings. Planning meetings are not always what you think they are. Hi, Eowyn. Go away. Planning meetings are basically, if you're in there are two types of planning meetings. There's the the higher ups, the people in charge of the show, type people. These are called like the council or something. And actually, there's a couple people in the council in this picture, and they meet away from everybody because they have to discuss things like contracts, how to deal with them, what to do with them. And then everyone else kind of shows up for the public meeting. And they say, okay, we're prepping this. We're doing this cool idea. We've got the finances ready. We've paid for the convention floor. And, we're just kind of finishing everything up as best we can. And so you'll basically have at least a month, or every month you'll have a meeting. And these meetings tend to be about 40, 50 minutes. And it's always a good idea when you go to these meetings to prep food. So a lot of these meetings will be at restaurants or somebody is going to be ordering food for you. And that goes into the convention budget. If you probably haven't thought about that yet, but when you're planning things out, you need to have food ready. And this is a great way. By the way, don't try to eat at the convention, or more precisely have the convention cater a meeting, because it's going to cost a lot. So unless you have like the money to spare, I'd recommend, just having it at somebody's house or at, all-you-can-eat place. They're way cheaper. And that's kind of the idea. You just go to plan meetings, you kind of find out what department you're really going to work on, and you just kind of work on your little area, and you do the planning for that. Oh, hi. Hi, Valerie. I love it when people post and I'm filming. I've tried to get rid of that. I really have. But there's not a lot I can do. Sorry. But, these are various places of meetings I've gone to. So you've got a wide variety, a house, meeting places, restaurants, all sorts of stuff. Then you got to work on the final details. And these are when you walk into the show floor, it's going to be empty. So you need to just work on the details of how it's going to be set up and how it's going to be prepped and how much you need of every single item and what cool little thing can you do to make it work faster. For instance, these boxes have each console with all the hookup cords and everything in them in a plastic bag, and it's properly labeled. Oh my gosh, that was so useful. And with that, you can just kind of already prepare for stuff, and you can already say, well, this is what I'm working on. And it just makes the entire process faster. That's kind of the final details thing, is you're just trying to make the process faster. And then if you have the time, you add the cool thing into there, and everybody just kind of loves that. Work on the cool thing last. Whereas, the floor plan or something like that, that's going, into detailed territory. Like, okay, which arcade machines should go where? And you don't really know the final details until the day of the show. But you try to prep for it as you go, so that when it's time for a setup, you've got everything prepared. And, things are going to change on the day of setup, but at least you've got a plan to work with and that you can change. So that's it. Then we go into a giant ball of nerves. And this isn't so much preparations as acknowledging that it's going to happen and knowing what to do about it. When you are a giant ball of nerves, it means that right before the show, you're going to get nervous. Quite a few people I know forget to sleep. And they get so nervous because every single thing needs to be perfect, and they don't really know what to do. I do photography as a hobby, but it's just kind of scary. Like, is the money there? Have I prepared enough? And not just for the convention, but for myself. Have I prepared enough for me to have food? Have I prepared enough for me to, have breaks? Have I prepared enough so that I can do stuff? And oh my gosh, why are people posting right now? Oy vey, come on. I've been trying to undo that so much. I'm sorry. But you're just a giant ball of nerves. And it's basically, you're getting ready for the production. If you've ever done film or video, you know that right before the video production, you just kind of become this giant ball of nerves because you want everything to be perfect and everything has to be ready, and you don't have a lot of time on your hands and you just don't know what to do. So you're just going at it as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and sometimes it just kind of gets to you. And you know that when you get to the show, it's going to be okay, you're going to be ready, you just calm down a lot. But just even the ride to the show is just nerve wracking because it just feels like it's this major thing and it's this, you know, amazing moment where you're going to create kind of a religious moment for folks. So you're just like, oh, I want to do this thing for people, but you have to be willing to just kind of let go. That's why you do the cool things last. If you don't do the cool thing, it'll be okay because the rest of the show is going to be amazing. So that's what you prepare for. And yeah, the shows are great, but you're just going to be a ball of nerves right before it begins. The ball of nerves thing is not a joke. Right before any show, I freak out. I'm like, oh, do I have enough money? Have I prepared enough? Have I prepped everything? Is the cool thing going to work? And oh my gosh! And I think for certain that I'm going to crash, or that I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to afford gas or something like that. I have prepared everything for it, but in my mind, I think that there's always something I haven't prepared for, and usually that's not true, or I forget a small item that I can replace easily. So, one of the shows I actually did, I nearly ran out of money, and I had to use a buffer I forgot I had to kind of get home from the show. So, that was last year actually. And so, I am totally a ball of nerves. Just giant, I don't know what to do. And you should just know that this is going to happen. If you're running a convention, you're going to be a giant ball of nerves. So don't do a bunch of stressful stuff beforehand. Just be like, I'm going to be a giant ball of nerves. I'm going to watch a bunch of shows I really like. Or I'm going to go, I'm going to do all the preparations and then I'm going to read a book. Just do something to calm down because it's going to just make you a lot less stressed out when you get to the show and, ready to do stuff. So this is my new video plan. How did it work? If you have any suggestions, tell me. I'm trying to make it as cool as I can, but not overdo it. The last video took me 3 days to make, and it was literally just an entire day of editing, and then an entire day of uploading, and then a day of me posting it around. So I don't want to do that again. This is me trying to be balanced. So catch y'all later. Bye now.